Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. It's a popular Mexican holiday celebrated on November 1st and November 2nd, and it's to remember and honor friends and family who have passed. It's celebrated throughout all of Mexico, but Oaxaca City is a very popular destination. In the beautiful and historic city center of Oaxaca City, there is parades, festivals, and all types of activities going on for families and tourists. Oaxaca City attracts tourists from all over the world to come and observe and participate in Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos was high on our list ever since we basically got here to Mexico. But we lived here in Puerto Escondido for 2 years and we really wanted to go. We just never had the opportunity to really make it there. And now that we're back here for 2 months, during exactly those days, we're like, we have to go, and we're taking Nora because I cannot wait to see Nora with makeup on and in her little dress, dressed up like the traditional stuff there. So stick around and see how we wander the streets of Oaxaca, get our makeup done, show you the parades and all the festivities that we run into.
All right. Welcome back, friends and fam and new viewers, on this week's episode on Nations Without Borders. This week, we got a pretty exciting episode for you because we are going to Dia de los Muertos in Oaxaca City, which is essentially the home base, the most popular location to go celebrate the Mexican holiday, Dia de los Muertos. And yeah, we're bringing our baby daughter Nora, so we're doing it with a baby just to kind of show everyone what can be done, how you do it, and
It's gonna be fun. We're also going to meet 2 of our friends from Lisbon there. They are flying in as we speak while we drive. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one.
So we're going to be doing some traditional Mezcal tours of the farm, see how it's made, and we'll be joining some parades and doing all the stuff you usually do when you go to Oaxaca City for this holiday. So we're excited. Stick around and let's go.
Let's go!
So let's talk a little bit more about how to get to Oaxaca City, where Dia de los Muertos takes place. If you're coming from Puerto Escondido, such as we did, there are different ways to get there. You can take a bus, which is what a lot of people do, because a lot of people that are staying there on vacation, you don't have a car, so you can take the bus, which is pretty cheap. We have a rental car for the 2 months that we're here, so we actually drove ourselves, but more on that in a minute. If you're feeling fancy and you want to spend a little bit of extra money and get there quick, there is a small airplane, I think it's called Tucon.
Tucon Airlines or Airways, but
Yeah.
you have to book it with the pilot or something. Like it's a very...
Yeah, it's not, well, maybe it's easier to get now, but when we looked into it like 3 years ago, it was kind of a pain, but it
I was
is,
texting the pilot directly.
it is possible. Now, if you're not coming from Puerto and you're coming here from some other destination, they do have a major airport there, so you can a lot of times get a direct flight, or typically you'll be flying into Mexico City and then from Mexico City to Oaxaca City. Either way, those are the kind of the different ways you can get there. Now, for those of you that will be driving to Oaxaca City from Puerto Escondido, luckily, last year they opened up a new highway that they've been working on for like, I don't know, 7 or 10 years. It was really late, but but it finally got opened up. However, in typical, well, I don't want to say Mexican fashion, but they opened it up early, and we feel that there was plenty of the highways that just didn't feel complete. It was a little bit sketchy in some areas. Through the valleys and mountains of Oaxaca, there are lots of steep cliff sides, and we saw lots of areas where rocks and landslides had obviously happened. Some of them looked like they were pretty fresh, but there were plenty. And for it being a new highway, there was also plenty of potholes in some areas. So why don't you talk about a little bit more about how people drive and on the side of the road and all that?
It's a 2-lane highway, and there is space on the right and the left to like make space for people that are taking over. So what a lot of people do is when you're driving not so fast, they drive a little bit further to the right so that whoever wants to take over has space to take over. So they're using it like a 4-lane.
It actually does work pretty well.
But it makes some drivers a little bit too aggressive. Like they're right behind you, pushing you like move to the side, move to the side. So it's like here and there a little bit like too aggressive in my opinion. But because of these landslides, the right is not always clean to drive. Like there's rocks or rubbish or whatever, and it's a windy road.
Yeah.
So if you're moving too far to the right to just make space for someone else, there is a risk that you run into a landslide around the corner.
Drive with caution.
Yeah.
And there are lots of cliff sides that you can tell have not been reinforced yet by the steel or the concrete that they typically pour over it. So there's still construction going on. It's still a work in progress. However, the alternative is another highway that takes 6 or 8 hours.
I wouldn't even call that a highway.
A smaller road with lots of twisties.
The old road.
Yeah, it takes a long time, so it's definitely an improvement. We don't want to scare you away from driving the road. It's fine, but we typically advise better not to drive it at night because then it even gets a little bit, risky.
There's no lights. There's here and there's even the markers on the road, on the ground are missing.
No, they still have those.
Be careful where the landslides were.
Oh yeah.
At a certain point, it was like a 2-way lane or 4-lane. It was like a small 1-way lane where they had people working with like traffic control. I don't know. It was just really small at a certain point.
So if you don't feel confident in your own driving abilities, just take shuttle buses. Luckily, the drive went okay, and we arrived in Oaxaca City just fine. When we arrived at our Airbnb in Oaxaca City, we were greeted by our friends, Alexis and Tiziana. They live in Lisbon, Portugal. They're good friends of ours, and they were doing a vacation throughout Mexico, and they decided to join us for the festivities in Oaxaca City, so we were stoked on that. All right, we arrived in Oaxaca City. We are in our Airbnb, already sipping some Mezcal. Give you the quick tour. We got my homie Alex. We already got stocked up on some just Mezcal from the grocery store until we go get some custom stuff tomorrow. Basic Cocina. Nora's already exploring the castle. Tiziana, what's up?
Hola.
We're all getting ready. We're gonna go out to dinner. Alex, what's the name of the dinner? The restaurant?
Cocina Authentica something.
Artisanal something?
Yeah.
After getting settled, we went out for dinner. We were like a 10-minute walk away from the city center. We had made reservations for Ancestral, Cocina, Tradicional. Am I saying this right?
Yeah, we'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, beautiful restaurant. Traditional Oaxacan food, delicious. But the fun part was that on our way there, we already got caught in a big group parading the streets. This was on the 31st of October, so it's like Halloween night before Day of the Dead. And these groups are like dressed up. They had a devil dancing in the middle of them. They were going through the streets and they were getting candy somewhere. It was
Lots of
a lot fun.
costumes, they had the instruments, and
Yes.
there was people from the apartments like throwing treats and snacks and candies at them.
I had to hide.
Yeah, Josien had Nora, so we're like, oh, these people are throwing stuff down, so she had to hide.
Like I was standing right underneath the balcony where they were tossing all the candy. I was like, oh.
It was pretty fun. So I mean, like within half an hour of a ride, we were already getting sucked into the festivities, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was a fun night. It was a good night out. We were in bed at 8, I think, but
But then we got to the restaurant, and we were pretty lucky to get these reservations because we kind of made them last minute. So that is one tip I would say is if you are going to Dia de los Muertos, make your restaurant reservations a bit earlier, like a couple months in advance, if you want like top restaurants, because Oaxaca City is known as like kind of a foodie city. They have a bunch of amazing restaurants, some Michelin star restaurants. Yeah, so make sure you get your reservations. Alright, so Oaxacan food, which we love. Some of the food we ate at these restaurants, like at the restaurant we went to on Thursday night. Ancestral, Cocina, Tradicional. I ordered like a short rib plate with a red mole, which was delicious. And yeah, we just got a variety of Oaxacan dishes. Some pozole, highly recommend. All right, so let's talk about another activity we did, which was a mezcal tour. A very popular activity to do when visiting Oaxaca City, and that's because Oaxaca City and the surrounding areas is basically the capital of mezcal, largest producer of mezcal and the largest exporter, and that's because of the agave plants and just the history and culture of mezcal around in Oaxaca. So we were there for 3 days, all the way from Thursday to Sunday, so we figured why not, let's do it. Because we lived in Oaxaca for a couple of years, I really grew to love mezcal, so I was pretty excited about this tour. Josien decided to stay behind with Nora, obviously, on mom duty.
We're not taking Nora on a mezcal tour.
No, but Josien has been to Oaxaca City before, and she did a mezcal tour with her friends, so she didn't miss out on too much. But Tiziana and Alexis are also big fans of mezcal, so they were excited as well. We lucked out and booked a tour pretty last minute. I think it's called Mezcal Tour Oaxaca, and I'll put a link in the description below. Overall, the tour was pretty fun.
Way ahead, because we had a hard time finding a tour.
Some of the more popular tours that booked way in advance, and a lot of them are 6 to 8 hours long, and that's just because most of the mezcal distilleries and farms are about an hour drive outside of Oaxaca City, so it takes a while to get there, it takes a while to get back. Then you're doing a tour of the farm plus mezcal tasting, so it's a kind of an all-day thing. We booked a short 4-hour tour just because we wanted to go around Oaxaca City and explore and not leave Josien and Nora alone for a whole day.
But in the end, it really took you longer though.
Yeah.
It wasn't 4 hours, but from like when you left to when you came back, you're still like doing 6 hours.
Yeah, so it was an hour drive there. It was really fun. We jumped right into the tour. We went around the farm. They taught us about the agave plant, how it's roasted and how it's distilled, and then it's a very traditional method that they still use. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool to learn how it's made and where it comes from and how long it takes. It takes a lot of years. But then right after that, we jumped right into the mezcal tasting. We're gonna try Dia de los Muertos edition mezcal. Let's go, guys.
Very smooth, very nice.
We tasted a lot of different mezcals. And it started off slow. Everyone in the group was pretty tranquilo, but then they take you on to like this mezcal bus.
Party bus.
They crank up the music and they get everyone hyped up and they're passing out mezcal to everyone. It was pretty funny. Alexis really enjoyed it. He took the party up to level 12 and it was just a ton of fun. So highly recommend. Just beware though, like if you're, check with your tour guide on if they provide food or not, because obviously if you're drinking mezcal for hours and if they don't provide food, you want to make sure you bring a snack. I assumed that they provided food, and like we were at a restaurant, like this mezcal distillery, they had a restaurant there, so I just assumed we were gonna stop and like grab tacos or something, but no, it was like straight into the bus, and then you're on the bus for when we got back. They're like, nope, we gotta go. I'm like, you realize everyone here is hungry. And I'm like, you want us to all drive an hour? Like, risky business. But anyways, yeah, make sure you bring a sandwich or a snack if they're not gonna feed you, because having a bunch of people drunk without food is dangerous in my opinion.
Okay.
Mi amiga,
The mezcal tour is ended. It was amazing, right?
See, now
But we are starving.
Now we're starving. We're gonna go find tacos.
Voila, tacos, some food.
Tacos necesitamos.
Tacos, tequila, mezcal.
So one day we're on their tour. I did not sit in the Airbnb and wait. I took Nora in the stroller, went for a walk into the city. I wanted to like get a lay of the land a little bit, like how busy is it going to be? Is it stroller friendly? Where do we go for what? Like all the things. I just wanted to know. And as we were like 10 or 15 minutes walking from the city center, I was like, I can take Nora. We're going for a walk alone with the stroller. It's not super easy, but Oaxaca is in a way stroller friendly. There's just a lot of bumps here and there. There's some holes in the sidewalk, but most of the time there is a sidewalk that is wide enough for a stroller. So I think I went on a 3-hour walk through the city. Already saw like, okay, there's a lot of makeup artists in the city, dressing everyone up, decorations everywhere, beautiful, like so many decorations. I couldn't stop filming basically. And I wanted to go to the cemetery, Ochimilco Cemetery. You kind of want to go there at night with all the candles, and it's a beautiful scenery there. But I wanted to know like how easy is this accessible? Like, can I get there? Where is it exactly? And when I got there with the stroller, it was kind of hard to get in. I walked in maybe 10 meters. I walked in and then I walked out because it was just small, and these cemeteries are not like a grid with like nice sidewalks. It's a bit of a unorganized structure. You can get everywhere, but not with a stroller. So if you're going to the cemetery, do not bring the stroller. But yeah, I had a good time. I had lunch in the city with Nora, and then when she fell asleep, I just waited for a bit, watched the crowd, and then I took the taxi back because after 3 hours walking, I was done. Yeah, then they came back to the Airbnb in a very good mood. And we chilled at the house for a bit. You guys recovered, and then we went out for dinner at Pitriona, also with reservations. I wanted to go to Pitriona because they have a rooftop close to the street where the parades are at. So if a parade would pass by, we would be able to like immediately join or see it or be in it. So definitely recommend that restaurant, not only for the location, also for the food, because the food was amazing.
Do you remember what you ordered?
No. I just know it was really good. I know that we had a really good time because we were at the rooftop, we could see the fireworks. And there were 3 different locations in the city apparently where there were fireworks. So just sitting there during dinner and all of a sudden fireworks going off, it was so cool to see it. With Nora was even pointing at it, it was really cute. So yeah, do dinner at a rooftop during their event, highly recommend.
All right, it's Saturday, the biggest day for Dia de los Muertos, November 2nd. And we got Nora in her cute little outfit, which you'll be able to see better. We're gonna go get our makeup done, and start wandering the streets. Vamos. What did we do on Saturday? So Saturday was the big day, kind of I think the main primary day of all the festivities where the biggest parades happen and festivals and whatnot. So we started off the day very chill, ate breakfast at home. First thing on our to-do list was to go and get our makeup done because Josien had found some lady on the street that had like a storefront where you could go and get your makeup done.
So when I was walking down the street on Friday with Nora, I passed by this little shop and there were 3 ladies with a desk with mirrors and all the makeup. Like they had a proper setup, and they had like a flyer on the wall for Instagram and follow us here, and I could make reservations for our makeup. So I made reservations for our makeup for the next day at 1 p.m. For 4 people. I don't know. I was like, I don't know if we even want to do it, but let's just get this reservation in. And then I walked into the city and I saw that there's plenty of other makeup artists everywhere. I just didn't know. But I made the reservations and they looked very professional. On Saturday, we went there. And first of all, they said like, you had reservations at 12, so you're too late. And we're fully booked. Okay. So that was an issue. And in that moment, they said like, okay, we kind of can fit you in, but not all 4 of you. So let's just do 2. So Pitriona and I, we stayed, we got our makeup done. And the guys took Nora to a restaurant to have some food, get some mezcal. And
it's called Cafe Los Gles. Yeah, we had ate there the previous day after the Mezcal tour, so we were already aware of it. And Alex and Tiziana got their makeup done there the previous day, and they said it was like super chill. So then you got me and Alex, Daddy and Uncle Alexis just walking around the city with Nora, and we went there and we got our makeup done. And the 2 Mexican ladies doing makeup were very happy to see Nora. She's so cute, and they were excited to try and do her makeup. Now, Nora's a young baby, so obviously we're not going to cover her face in makeup, but we wanted to see if we could just do some like little accents here and there, something to make her cute. And she was actually really chill with it, but I think she just liked the feeling of the paintbrush. Yeah, she didn't sit there too long, so they didn't get very far, but it was enough to like where she just looked adorable, and she was turning lots of heads in the restaurant. Everyone thought she was super cute. So we just hung out there and got our makeup done and waited for the girls to show up, and we got some snacks. When you guys showed up,
we were not happy with our makeup. I don't know, maybe we gave the wrong example or whatever, stroller, but what they did to our faces was not what we wanted. We looked like 20 years older, maybe. It was not, it was just not it. So when we got to the restaurant and we saw their faces being fully painted and like perfectly done, we were like, which makeup artist did you use? Because they need to fix this. So Pitriona and I had another sit down at that restaurant to get our faces fixed. The restaurant Panam or Pan Am. Yeah, we had some food there, we had some more drinks. It was a good time overall. So about the makeup. We got our makeup done, but you don't have to do it. Some locals don't do it. And some are scarier than others. Some are traditional, some are like more Halloween style. But feel free to do so. The little thing is that some people worry about if it's appropriate to do it. I've done some research before we went and I've seen a couple of videos where they interview locals and they said like, no, we are guests, paint your face. It's totally fine, enjoy the festivity. As far as I know, it's not insulting depending on what kind of makeup style you're going for. So please do your own research before going because it will help you.
After we hung out at the Pan Am Cafe, after we hung out there for a few hours, had some snacks, got our makeup done, we continued wandering around the streets. We went to a pretty cool market near the center where we did some shopping for some gifts. Alex and Tiziana, they wandered off and were also wandering around, probably got lost in some parades.
They got lost in a parade, that was it.
So the thing is, when you're traveling and doing these kinds of events and activities with a baby, you kind of got to do everything earlier. And typically, you know, people in Mexico or Latin America in general will go out to dinner a little bit later. But for us, we got a dinner reservation at 5:30 at Alambique, which was a cool restaurant right near the city center next to the church. We went there and got an early dinner, also delicious. We went and said hi to a couple friends at a bar afterwards and then went home for the night.
For dinner on Friday night, we had dinner around 7 on the rooftop. And I noticed that all the parades are around 6 and 7. They start around that time. And being on a rooftop, you don't really notice the parades. And I was a little bit sad because we missed the parades that night. And knowing that we had reservations for Saturday night at 7 again, I changed it to 5:30. I picked the restaurant Alambique because it's right at the road where the parades pass by. So we could see through the window like there's a parade. It's like walk out the restaurant, see the parade passing by and go back to our thing. So yeah, I highly recommend make reservations at Alambique because it's the perfect spot to see all the parades passing by and all the festivities. You're right in the center.
Another tip is just a word of caution about Mezcal. If you're interested in going to Oaxaca City, you've probably drank Mezcal before, but not all Mezcal is created equal and some of them can be really strong. So just be aware of the Mezcal you're drinking and make sure you eat plenty of food when you're doing these kinds of day activities. All right, so let's talk about some questions that we think people would be interested in if you're thinking about coming to Dia de los Muertos with your kids or a baby. So how was celebrating Dia de los Muertos with the baby? Do we think it's worth going or should you wait till they're older or what? What do you think?
It was fine. I had a good time. Sure, you can say if the kids are older, they can understand it better and they
can walk themselves.
walk themselves. But I was fine alone with the stroller in the city through crowds and all things. I only had to ask one person once to help me out to pick up the stroller, but that was it.
Since it is more of a historic old city center, some of the streets are rough and they have the cobblestones and whatever, but it's manageable. And if you're wandering around all day, yeah, you could have like baby strap carrier, but it is quite nice to have the stroller because if you go into a restaurant, you can let them sleep in there and
bring the diaper bag that goes underneath. Whatever you buy on souvenirs goes into the stroller. So it was handy to have. Do I recommend going with a baby versus older kids? I would say go with older kids. They can just understand everything better. But I'm not against bringing a baby to Day of the Dead. The city was super friendly. Like people are friendly. It's not like that crowded that you're feeling like, oh my god, too many people. You can easily stay out of the parade if you want to.
In these types of big festivals and whatnot, obviously you want to keep an eye out, be aware of your surroundings, making sure that you're always keeping an eye on your stroller just in case anyone tries to run off with, like, if you have your diaper bag underneath there and stuff like that. And when there's a big tourist attraction like that, you always have to be aware because oftentimes lots of potential malicious actors are looking to take advantage of parents that are flustered and have their attention focused solely on the baby. So just make sure you keep an eye out and you watch each other's back. But yeah, we felt safe the whole time and
also, we have a really big hook that we have on the stroller that we can hook onto our bags that are underneath so that whoever tries to pull a bag, the bag is attached to the stroller. kind of makes me feel safer about our stuff underneath.
Make sure you have all the essential items with you so you don't have to like go back and forth. Because once you're in the city center, you kind of want to like stay there for a while.
Not all restaurants have a diaper changing table in the bathrooms. Not all bathrooms are very spacious. So be aware of that. Be prepared for that if they don't have a changing table, that you have another creative way to change the diaper safely. High chairs. So far, I think every restaurant that we went to for dinner had a high chair. That brings us to our third question: how to prepare for Day of the Dead when you bring in kids.
Yeah, if you got kids, show them the movie Coco. We watched it, and even if you're an adult, it's a enjoyable movie. It's adorable, and you learn a lot about the holiday. Actually, yeah, it was a really fun movie. Highly suggest it.
Yeah, it might be one of my favorite Disney movies.
Yeah, good soundtrack too.
Yeah. Besides that, watch some videos, as you're doing probably right now on YouTube, on like other people that went to the city. Get a feeling of like how busy it is. There is, for what I've seen, no schedule for like, oh, this parade starts at this time, this parade starts at that location. That doesn't exist, for as far as I could find. But what I know now is that most parades start around 6 or 7 in the city center. They have a certain route. Most of them end up in the city center, right in front of the church, and that's also where the fireworks being set up.
A lot of these events do go into the late night, so if you're going without kids and it's just the adults and you want to go party, there's definitely that scene too. So if you want to stay out late, go to the cemeteries and drink mezcal and beer till your heart's desire. You can stay out pretty late. People are partying late in that city.
Extra side note about the cemeteries at night. Yes, there's music at the cemetery. Yes, there's a lot of booze and food going on and people are in good spirits, but the locals are remembering the death. Some people, some families do not want to be disturbed, so
Be respectful.
be respectful.
Let's see. Favorite moment. For me, it was Nora and me getting our makeup done. She was sitting on my lap some of the time, and it was just the cutest thing ever. So, and taking pictures, and those are memories that we're gonna have forever. And I think one day when Nora's older and she can look back on the pictures and videos.
Another highlight for me was the fireworks. It was just because it was unexpected. I didn't plan for that, and we were just sitting there, and all of a sudden we were in it. It was fun to watch.
Well, that about wraps up this week's video on Dia de Los Muertos. Thank you for watching. I think this is one of our favorite videos we've done just because it was such a fun weekend and a lot of activities and festivities to go to, and our friends joined us. So we really liked making this video and showing you all of our experience. So thank you for joining. And if you found this video entertaining or insightful for when you decide to go to Dia de los Muertos yourself, do us a favor and please like and subscribe. It'll help our channel grow so we can reach more inspiring traveling families. So thank you for joining and tuning for next week's episode.
Bye bye.
Adios.